Hello chess fans, we're back with another over the board chess game analysis. So this was a game I played in a recent tournament, and I was against a 2100 rater opponent. And in our previous game I played the modern, and in another game I played the French, and they actually played the exchange French. So I know that they generally like to go for sort of boring variations. So my opponent started off with e4, and I went for e5, which seems pretty counterintuitive. So if your opponent likes to play for boring variations, like why would you play symmetrically? And it's because the last time I actually played e5 against this person, I was able to get a very, very nice position just straight out of the opening. So I thought that they probably just don't know the theory in e4, e5. So my opponent went for knight f3. I went for knight f6, bishop e5. I went for a6, bishop a4. And here the main move by far is the move knight f6. But here I decided to go for the move d6, just defending the pawn. And also you have ideas of going b5, knight a5 sometimes, and you're just sort of keeping a little bit flexible, but also inflexible. Because, okay, now your bishop can't go here, but maybe your knight can go to e7 in some positions, and maybe you can have the move f5 in some positions. It's just a pretty flexible move, and it's trendy these days. Also, you can go for g6, bishop g7. That's another idea. But my opponent decided to go for d4. So d4 is, okay, maybe the most immediate move. Obviously, you have this nice pin, but inserting this move a6 is actually very, very nice. So, for example, the old Steinitz variation was d6, and here d4 is the best move. And it's because black doesn't really have a great response. Okay, if they take, then you have double pressure here. You can probably double black's pawns. And then if you go for a move like bishop d7, okay, at the very worst, they can go for like d5 and then something like this. Notice that all their pawns are on dark squares. They have a little more space, and they got rid of their light squared bishop. Sorry, their pawns are on light squares. So this is like a good intuitive setup for white here. Basically, they got rid of their bad bishop for your good bishop because your pawns are on dark squares. And so this position is also quite nice. But by inserting this a6 move, this d4 move is no longer as good because here I have b5 attacking the bishop. Here the bishop goes to b3, and now I play a very, very important move. So I could take here, and we're gonna see why this is a little bit different. But I could take here, and they will have a similar trap. But a better improved move is actually to take on d4, and this is really not that common of an idea. The idea is that, okay, this knight is pretty bad. It doesn't really do anything, and if I take, it's a badly placed piece, essentially. It can be pinned, and this knight is much, much better. It can go to g5, it can go to e5. It just has a lot of future prospects. It controls the center. So by trading these knights after takes, black has gained something. And here we actually have a trap. Notice that if white takes here, I have this move c5 attacking the queen, and after queen d5, I have bishop e6 attacking the queen again. Notice that if I go c4 here, I lose my rook. So here I go bishop e6, attacking the queen and also protecting my rook at the same time. Now queen c6, bishop d7, attacking the queen again, and after queen d5, c4 eventually traps the bishop. And actually, I'm looking at the database here. There are 2,300. There's a 2588 who has been caught for this trap. That is absolutely incredible. And of course, unfortunately, actually one of the games here was drawn. But okay, black should definitely be winning there. So yeah, white really can't take the pawn with the queen. And my opponent decided to go for maybe the next most logical move. Okay, so if the problem is c4, c5, attacking the bishop, let's go bishop d5, and after rook b8, now take with the queen. So this is logical, but here I think already the position is equal, but I think that black is probably slightly to be preferred. It's just a lot easier to play with black, and it might look like really, really counterintuitive. Okay, white controls the center, their queen is nicely placed, there's no way to hit it. But the problem with white's position is just black has very, very, very good pawn play, especially with these pawns on the queen side, and my pieces have just very, very natural development. It's going to be easy for me to develop. So here I went for bishop d7, and I thought a long, long, long time about this. And bishop d7 is tied for the best move. Apparently, knight f6 and knight e7 are also equal, but I think bishop d7 is the best move because it has another idea. It has the idea to go c6, bishop back, and then c5 with the same exact trick. So if they castle here, it would be a blunder because of c6 here, c5, queen here, exact same trick, and then here. But apparently, okay, I guess they can just take here, and then, they still lose their bishop. So instead of that, my opponent played a3, creating a square for the bishop to anticipate this threat. I went for knight f6, now I'm attacking the bishop, and here my opponent made a very, very bad move. So here, probably what you should do is just go bishop back to a2. That makes the most sense because, okay, you created a square for the bishop. But my opponent went bishop b3. And I really do not know the logic behind going bishop b3 over bishop a2, because there's no way my opponent thought. The only useful thing is that it now controls the a4 square. Maybe you can push a4 in the future, but a4 is just generally just not the idea here if you went a3. So here I went for the most logical move, c5, attacking the queen here. My opponent went queen e3. I went c5 immediately because if I dilly-dally, here my opponent can maybe play a move like bishop f4. And now c5, they can go like queen d2. Or they can, okay, they can still go queen e3, and now their bishop is not being blocked. So I thought it's important to go c5 first to block the bishop. Now I go bishop e7, continuing development. Knight c3, preventing d5 moves in the future. Castles, castles. And here I just develop another piece with rook e8. So now here I have all my pieces developed. Their queen is badly placed. My rook is nicely placed. I have these pawns on the queen side that I pretty much gained space for free. So here, yeah, black is just doing very well here. It's minus 0.6, but it's not so clear. Now here, probably what my opponent should do is just go for like rook d1, just activating the rook. They could also go for queen g3, or sorry, not queen g3, because maybe then this pawn hangs in the future. Maybe queen f3. That's also another idea. They could even go bishop a2 preemptively, because I'm probably going to play the c4 move at some point, but maybe there's no need. But instead, my opponent went for f3. And here, my sort of spidey senses started tingling. This is something that you could get the more you play chess, is that when your opponent plays a move that you just really don't think is good, then you sort of just get an intuition that this can't be a good move. And here, notice that the queen and the king are on the same diagonal. So immediately I look at, okay, if I free these two squares, then there's always some ideas. But even the bishop, it's not even defended if it gets to c5. So this is just a very long-term idea. Usually you shouldn't move pawns like this in the opening. And the reason my opponent did this was because they wanted to move the queen, but they also saw this was hanging. Excuse me. So after f3, I thought, okay, I want to push this d5 move and use this pin. So I'm going to go c4 first, attacking the bishop. And now here, I mean, I could have got you to pause the video, but I think from what I just said, it's pretty obvious. Here, I wanted to open this file, and I didn't care. I threw caution to the wind, and I just sacrificed a d5 pawn. So d5, very, very nice move. This is actually the best move by the engine. And it's just very, very intuitive because of the fact that I just want to open this file. I want to open this diagonal for my bishop, and it just makes a lot of sense. So here my opponent took with the knight. They want to do the same thing. They want to trade a pair of knights. If they keep a pair of knights on the board, I have more attackers. So they go takes, takes. E takes here. And here I have actually a long forcing line that I can at least win the pawn back. Here I could have gone bishop d6, queen f2, rook c8, threatening bishop c5. Notice that if bishop e3, I can just take it. And then after queen takes, bishop c5 would win. So king h1 getting out of that. Queen f6. Now the bishop can't move because the b2 pawn would hang. So they go c3, defending the b2 pawn. And then here I could have queen e5, attacking the h2 pawn. They would defend. And then here apparently bishop c5 is completely winning after queen g2 and queen e2. But okay, maybe there's no need. Maybe I can just go queen d5, and here I would be completely winning. I have way more active pieces. Your bishop on a2 is horrible. Your bishop on e3 can't develop. And yeah, pretty much all your pieces suck. It's hard to say exactly what's happening here, in all honesty, though. So it's not so clear. Instead of that, I went queen c7 with the same idea to go bishop c5. But okay, the queen actually doesn't really want to be on c7. So we're going to see why this is a mistake. My opponent goes king h1, bishop d6. And here my opponent went queen f2. And from afar, when I played queen c7, I actually just missed this whole idea of queen f2. The idea is that now I can't take here because of f4. So once I saw that, I was a little bit disappointed because I thought I really played a nice sacrifice with here, but clearly I had something better that I could have done instead of this queen c7 option. So here I maybe went for the most natural move, which is rook e5, just attacking the pawn, but also trying to double pieces. Here I have to try to get some sort of activity for my pawn. And here I was actually really worried about two moves from my opponent. The first move I was worried about was bishop f4. After takes, 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 I really couldn't see exactly why it was so much better. For example, a move like rook a1, looking to meet rook d2 with rook e2. The engine doesn't really give me anything clear. It says the best move is h5. And then here I was thinking about what about the move c3. Here apparently now rook e8 is good. Takes, takes. b4 is the only move. Rook d2 and then queen e3 attacking here. And then after takes, check here. It's really unclear. And yeah, the engine wants to do something like this. It's, to be honest, in my opinion, this is just completely unclear. So yeah, that was one option. The other option was f4, takes, and bishop e3. And this was another option I was scared of because I just thought that, okay, my opponent got their pawn back. They're going to go c3, bishop e1 later. And now maybe they also have ideas. I wasn't even sure I was too much better here, but here apparently is the best line. And then rook f5. Okay, rook f5 is like pretty much an impossible move to play. Like, what is the rook doing on f5? Let's say c3. Ah, we have tactics like this. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, I guess we do have a lot of tactics here, but it was very unclear. Now, that's not even forced at all. My opponent could, after rook f5, just go for what? What's the best move? Bishop b6. Okay, admittedly, this is hard. So maybe the position, according to the engine, is not as easy as I thought. But my opponent ended up going rook d1, which is a natural human move, defending the pawn. But okay, my actual idea was never, ever to win the pawn. Now I was really happy with this because I get to double here. Now I get to threaten rook e2. And here again, my opponent needs to start developing with bishop f4 and trade as many pieces as possible. Forget about the pawns. Instead of that, my opponent still wants the pawns. And yeah, I at this point, I was like, okay, I don't really want a pawn back. I'm all good with my pawns. I went rook e2. And when I played rook e2, I saw a really nice combination. A really, really nice combination. And after queen h4 here, I had to double check my combination. And here I spent a long time. I think I spent like 15 minutes or something here. And yeah, it's a really, really nice move here. So pause the video to see if you can find the winning move for black. Only one move clearly wins. Though granted, apparently according to the engine, h6, g6, these moves are also completely winning. Just creating a square for the king and doing nothing. Maybe because the threat of the next move is so strong. But yeah, take a few seconds, pause the video to see if you can find the move. If you haven't done so yet, pause the video now. And the move is bishop h3. Very, very, very nice move. And yeah, when I played this move, I saw all the way to the win that happened in the game. But I miscalculated a few things. So I didn't get lucky because I did see at least I had one win. And that was very, very clear to me. And it ended up happening in the game because I couldn't find anything better. But I did have some better options. So here, there's a few options. The first option is queen takes. Now, this is just clearly the worst because then I just go for checkmate. Rook takes here is now checkmate. Okay, so they can't take with the queen. So now what happens if they go rook g1, just defending the pawn? That's the second option. Here I would go bishop takes h2, attacking the rook. Now here queen takes h3, taking the bishop. Now notice that there's no checkmate on e1, but here I can take. Now if takes, check here, and then this would be checkmate. So they can't take that. They'd have to go like bishop e1, and then, okay, at the very least, I can go here and then move this back, and I'm just up the exchange. So that would be the second option. So rook g1 is also not a great option. So instead of that, my opponent made maybe the most logical move. Like when your opponent sacks a piece and you don't see a clear win, okay, just take the piece. Now here I have to go rook takes h2. That was my whole idea, to get the pawn off the g file. So then now my rook is attacking here, king g1. And here's where I sort of missed. So from afar, I had calculated the line all the way to the win. And here the winning move is rook e2. So I did take a small, like I don't think I took too long here. I think I took like 3 minutes or something. But I just couldn't see a move. So here the idea of rook e2 is to go like rook g2, bishop c5, or sorry, the idea is to go like bishop c5 here and then bring the queen in from this side, and then that would be completely winning. So to prevent bishop c5 from coming with check, the only logical move is rook d4. You could also go king f1, but I think then it's as if bishop c5 came with check, right? Like it's the same thing. So here rook d4 only move. Now if bishop c5, then they can start developing pieces. And then the rook also covers this back rank, very importantly. So instead of that, here I'd have to go like rook g2, king f1, rook g3, which is not obvious to me after here. And then I could take here. And okay, the position apparently is -5. Okay, I sacked the piece and I didn't get the piece back immediately. It's sort of difficult to play this. Though here I would be completely winning. They're supposed to take here. So I didn't see that. Instead of that, I played bishop g3. And this I calculate to the win. So now if queen d4, the win is pretty easy. Just here winning the queen. Now, what about if queen g4? It's, again, really easy. Queen f2, here, check. And then for example line, if they, after check, if they go for like, what could they do here? If they go for king g2, then I just have queen h2 mate. And if they go for check here, at the worst, I have something like this. And then there's mate in a few moves. This was clear to me. So they can't move their queen. So the only logical move is d6, counterattacking this. But now I have a nice tactic. I have queen takes d6. Now, if they take this, they get checkmated. So that would be a nice way to end the game, where I sacrifice a bishop and then a queen to checkmate the game. But of course, my opponent doesn't allow that, and my opponent goes bishop e3. So covering the f2 square, also still attacking my queen, and my queen has to keep a defense from this. So from this position, way back here with bishop h3, I saw all this. I saw up to this position, and I calculated that, okay, at the very worst here, I have queen takes d1, rook takes d1, bishop takes h4, king takes h2, and then rook takes h3, and there's no rook d8 checkmate because my bishop covers it. So I saw that. And I saw that, okay, if rook d4, maybe I can go rook e2, and then if king g1, okay, I mean, I can at least go for like, I don't know, bishop f6 or something. So I know that's a long line, but I saw that win. But here I was also like, okay, I think I have something better though. Like I have so many pieces in the attack, I have to be winning. And I calculated for a long time this move, queen b8. The idea of queen b8 is that, okay, I could go queen c7 too, but then this rook can't move because there's always this back rank idea. Now here, queen d4 is the move I saw, and I actually could not find a move here. I just couldn't find a cleanly winning move here. And there is a move here, and I challenge you to find it. Now I had to see this way back, admittedly, so it was quite difficult, but here the winning move is rook e2. And there's actually no way to defend this. And yeah, this is just something that I think is just very, very difficult to spot. So here, apparently the best move is bishop e1 and then takes here, but I don't even see another move. Like if they move here, then at minimum I have bishop e5, and then this is a nice line. Queen c5, I go bishop d4, and then the queen comes in. Pretty nice line. So they actually have no way to defend their queen. Another line I could even go for like bishop f2 here still, though this is slightly less winning than before. So yeah, this rook e2 move is just a move I missed. And if I saw this, I would have definitely gone for this. Now rook takes e3. I still have this massive attack on the king, and also I have a pawn up. I mean, okay, this is just completely winning. Okay, but instead of that, after bishop e3, I went for maybe the more lazy approach, which is queen d1. This is also winning. Rook takes d1, takes here. And then notice this position is just completely winning. Yeah, here actually, when I even calculated this from way before when I played bishop h3, I just thought I was up a pawn. And I thought, okay, the bishop is bad. But I didn't even notice I'm actually winning another pawn by force here. And there's no way to stop it. So my opponent went rook d2, takes here. Now here I could go for something like this, but it's just not really clear if I'm actually winning this. For example, this bishop comes around. This was a calculation I needed to make. Here apparently a5 is still winning. But okay, why would you put yourself through something like this? Takes. Yeah, okay, it's winning, but it's not clear at all, and I would have to show a lot of technique there. So okay, why do that? I went f5 instead, and now the bishop is actually pretty much trapped. And here I thought there was this nice line. My opponent ended up not going for it. Here king g2. Here I have this nice move rook g3, and then after king h2 I have g6. And then this might look scary because okay, the bishop's defending the rook, but what if I get rid of the defender? Now if your rook moves and you lose it, and if you go g5 then I take here, and that's a draw. So what do I do? But here I saw this nice line, rook e3, rook takes h4, sacrificing the whole entire bishop. But then rook e2 here, and rook takes b2, and the bishop is actually completely trapped because of my f5 move. And then here after takes, the position is completely winning for black because I just have too many pawns. So that was a really nice line, which is why I think f5 was a great move. So instead of that, they went bishop c2. Now I just defend this. Because now, well, I guess I still would have that rook e3 tactic now that the bishop would be attacked. But instead of that, they went king g2 now. I went check here. Now I went rook e3. Don't want to draw obviously. They went a4, trying to trade pieces. And here the position is pretty easy. Bishop g5. Now I'm threatening rook h3 and then here. And now I'm actually willing to do that because 3 pawns is enough here. Now I went bishop f4. If they take, then I have a rook e2 fork. So they went king g2. Now I give this check here. This is all a forced line. Here they went rook g2. And now I took on h3. I win another pawn. Notice they couldn't really have done anything else here. If they go here, I mean, at least I have rook takes c3. And then again, if here, then they just lose another pawn. And if they go, if they went king h1, then they lose this h3 pawn with check. So they had to go king h1. Now they have to go here. Now if they go rook e2, then they get checkmated. So they have no other option other than rook g2. I mean, they could have, I guess they could have also gone here. I don't even consider this move, to be honest. It just doesn't really make any much sense. And then now here they took on f5 because I'm pinned. But nicely, I have this rook f5 move, king e2, and now rook takes f5, rook takes e3. And this position is extremely easy to win. But you have to be sort of accurate. Like, it's a very easy position to win, but there's really no need to rush. And here I actually had so much time on the clock. I think I had like an hour 20, and then I also had a 30-minute, I don't know, maybe I had not an hour 20, maybe I had like an hour 05. And then I also had 30 minutes on top of that because at this point, I think we'd reached just move 40. And then once you get to move 40, you get an extra 30 minutes. So I thought that, okay, here I have way more than enough time. So I spent a lot of time. I think this endgame really took me like, I spent 30 minutes or 20 minutes. I may have even been wasting my opponent's time. My opponent really wasn't paying attention to the board because I guess they thought they were going to lose. But here I went king g7, which is definitely the best move. I want to play this h5 move, and I got to defend this first. My opponent went rook d2. Now I go h5. I just want to push my pawn. Notice the king can't approach. Rook d6. So they attacked the pawn. They attacked the base of the pawn chain. I don't really want to lose the base, so I went rook f6, rook d5. And now here I spent a really long time calculating. You could do like so many different things. You could even push the pawn. That's also winning. But then there's some sort of counterplay after this. h3 again, maybe h2. I guess they don't have enough time. Maybe they have to go rook a1 and then back. And, you know, maybe they dream of counterplay. But instead of that, the most cleanly winning way is to go b takes a4. The engine agrees with this. Now if they go rook a5, I have this. And there's no way to approach this. Now I'm 2 squares away from promotion. And if they give me this check, then I just go here. And they can't get back. Or I guess they can get back, huh? But okay, I guess my king walks up here and then I'm completely winning. And if not, then I just push the pawn and the king can't even approach. So yeah, that was the line that I calculated there. That was completely winning. So they had to go like rook d4. Now I go g5. They take this way. I go h4, rook g4. Again, they can't take because then I go h3. they go back. I mean, now I can even go g4, or I guess, okay, maybe I should go king g6 first. But okay, they went rook g4, I went here. And then after this, my opponent resigned with g4, king h4, g5, h3 coming. The position is really hopeless. I can even give up my rook for this pawn immediately. It would still be winning. So yeah, that was this game. I thought this game was really nice. Bishop h3, really nice move. There was a few nice moments in this game. I mean, bishop b3 was really poor by my opponent. F3 was also not a very great move, but d5, very, very nice intuitive sacrifice, just opening lines towards the king. And another nice move was, yeah, this bishop h3 move, just a really, really nice move, just to use all your pieces. Like when you have an attack, I have this piece attacking, this piece attacking, this piece attacking, this piece attacking, this piece attacking. I have 5 whole pieces attacking. They have this one defender, these 2 defenders pretty much, and all these pieces on the queen side are just doing nothing. Often sacrifices end up working. And yeah, unfortunately, I didn't find this queen b8 move. That would have been a nice move to find, but okay, alas, I got into a completely winning endgame, and then it wasn't particularly difficult to convert. So yeah, that's it in today's video, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.